happened. Ajit Pawar was heading the talk, and then Sharad Pawar refused to, and then early morning, oath-taking ceremony was happened. Devendra Fadnavis took oath as a Chief Minister, Ajit Pawar as a Deputy CM, and we have seen the drama. I have written the book over it as known as a checkmate. So, multiple times Ajit Pawar faced the humiliations, and the Sunetra Pawar, who is his wife, has seen how her husband has gone through the, all these things. Even within the party, also in NCP, Ajit Pawar has struggled a lot to appoint his own people as a district, president and the taluka president and spokesperson. The recommendation has not gone, well and speedily within his NCP that time. So Sunetra Pawar might be also aware of how her husband has struggled, in United NCP under the leadership of, his uncle. Now the question is whether they want to same kind of setup or they want to separate their identity, even though it may get weakened under the BJP. But we should not underestimate the leadership of Sunetra Pawar also. She has seen the
देशाचं बजेट आहे, या देशाचं बजेट आहे आणि मी राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस पक्षाची फ्लोर लीडर असल्यामुळे मला जायला लागते, म्हणून मी आशा काकींना भेटायला आले. आशा काकींशी बोलले आणि आता मी दिल्लीला पुण्याला चालले गाडीने आणि तिथून मी दिल्लीला
आलो होतो. ताई बंगलो
तो त्याच्या आजी आजोबांना भेटायला.
शपथविधीचा निर्णय झालाय जवळपास?
नाही, मला काही यातलं ताई
राष्ट्रवादी एकत्र येण्यासंदर्भात चर्चा काही
All right, Supriya Sule there speaking to the media. I think she was being asked whether she's going to attend the swearing in and she said no. Of course, she's coming to Delhi for the budget session tomorrow. Abhishek there with us for more. Abhishek, tell us what was said there. We do know that Sharad Pawar and Supriya Sule are skipping the swearing in ceremony that's going to take place in just about, a little less than half an hour from now.
Definitely, first I would like to show you, we are present here at Raj Bhavan and you can see the developments currently taking place here. Leaders have started to arrive just recently as we speak. Praful Patel, Sunil Tatkare and several other important leaders of NCP, Ajit Pawar faction have started to arrive, and in few minutes of time we can understand that Sunetra Pawar along with Jay Pawar will be coming here, and I would like to show you this is where the hall where swearing in ceremony will take place in short span of time, and we are trying that we should get access over there, and certain developments are taking place in this regard. So definitely, as we were reporting since morning, after the press conference, it is very much clear that the rift between the two Pawars families again clear wide open, and now we heard what Supriya Sule said, that she is not going to be a part of this, and she is now is expected to go to Delhi to attend the budget session tomorrow, the budget briefing that will take place in Parliament tomorrow. So definitely fast-paced developments are taking place, and in short span of time we would see Sunetra Pawar to be sworn in as the first female Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra.
All right, Abhishek, we're going to leave you now so you can make your attempts to get into that hall where the swearing-in ceremony will take place. Let's go back to our guest, Dr. Mayur Parekh. Before I ask more about this rift within the Pawar Parivar, tell us what you know about Sunetra Pawar. We in Delhi, heard about her when she contested against her sister-in-law Supriya Sule for Baramati, and we saw her then out and about at rallies and addressing gatherings. Tell us more about Sunetra Pawar.
Well, Sunetra Pawar is now a parliamentarian, and now she will be resigning very soon from Rajya Sabha and shall be joining Vidhan Sabha or Vidhan Parishad. As of now, we don't know, most probably Vidhan Sabha from Baramati only. She has taken parliament, she has I think asked around 124 or 128 questions in parliament so far, and majority of these questions related to the conservation of Paschim Ghat or were related to the women's, children's and the betterment of Maharashtra. So this was her profile about whatever questions she asked. Normally any parliamentarian asked around 90 questions in 1.5 years or so. But she has asked more than around 125 questions. So that's a good sign for her that she is not silent in the parliament. She has taken participation in 4 debates, and she is also a member of 2 Rajya Sabha committees. I do not recollect which those 2 committees are, but she's part of 2 Lok Sabha committees. And she is also working with the textile company in Baramati, as well as she is heading a educational institute. Her academic background is only limited up to graduation, but
Right.
she has seen politics very closely since her childhood, and now after getting married, she being part of the family of Ajit Pawar, I think she knows whole the story from inside out.
That's right. We'll have to slip into a short break. Sudhir Suryavanshi will talk to you more, about what this development means for the Pawar Parivar going forward. But short break. In a short while from now, Sunetra Pawar is going to be sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Stay with us.
NDTV 24/7, total domination in Davos. The world's biggest voices first. Iconic visionary Bill Gates. World Bank President Ajay Banga. IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva. IBM CEO and President Arvind Krishna. India's AI Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. NDTV is India's voice in the world. First interview with Maharashtra Chief Minister. First interview with Andhra Chief Minister. First interview with Assam Chief Minister. India's first ground event in Davos. NDTV puts India on the global stage. Davos, domination, no debate.
इनको यहाँ से जाना ही होगा।
There is no bigger battle in 2026. And nobody has reported Bengal like I have. Buckle up for an unforgettable election thriller. Will the BJP breach Mamta's fortress?
टीएमसी जावे, बीजेपी आसपे।
Can Didi fight off her life's biggest challenge?
বিজেপি ডাবল ইঞ্জিন সরকার এই লড়াই বাঁচতে হবে।
Battleground Bengal with Manogya Loiwal.
Mumbai are bringing our first India tour in your city. Rag on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets on Live Your City by Fever.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
Alright team, our new order show is ready. Now we need a promo. Something cool, something sharp. Well, I'm sure we'll be having outstanding reviews, solid suggestions,
expert advice,
the latest trends. It's a lot simpler. We'll help people make the right auto decisions.
It's got the cool stuff, geeky stuff, serious stuff, all of it, so that you can discover, decide and drive. I'm Siddharth Sharma and I am your Automate.
Across the country, he has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and
Welcome back. Some breaking news, and Sunetra Pawar has left for the oath-taking ceremony for Lok Bhavan. She has now, in a short while from now, she will be sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, taking up the position held by her late husband, Ajit Pawar. Sunetra Pawar today was elected as the leader of the NCP Legislative Assembly, a legislative party, and she was unanimously elected. Her name proposed by senior leader Chhagan Bhujbal. Now, at the same time, divisions within the Pawar family, with Sharad Pawar in Baramati dropping this bombshell in a sense this morning, where he declared he did not know that Sunetra Pawar was going to be sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister, and also that Ajit Pawar, his nephew, had wanted the two NCP factions to unite. In fact, there was a meeting held on the 17th of January to that end, and it was to be announced after the Zilla Parishad elections. But clearly, this particular faction, now headed by Sunetra Pawar, is not interested in that reunion of the NCP, and Sunetra Pawar is going to be sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister in a short while from now. She will hold all the portfolios held by her late husband, but except for the finance portfolio that will remain with Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. So those are the big developments. In a short while from now, the swearing-in ceremony will take place. Already all top leaders, Praful Patel, you can see there, have arrived at the Governor House, where the swearing-in ceremony will be taking place in a short while from now. Let's go across to Sujata now, who's tracking Sunetra Pawar. Sujata, tell us what's happening.
Well, yes, and we were tracking the convoy of Sunetra Pawar, who has left from her Devgiri bungalow residence, which is the official residence of the Deputy Chief Minister, from wherein she has now headed to Raj Bhavan. She has entered the Raj Bhavan along with her other family members, from wherein she will be sworn in as the first female Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister shortly. And we're expecting this event to begin from 20 minutes from now. But of course, a major political development into the politics of Maharashtra, where the Pawar family, who has never been and kept themselves distant, be it from the opposition or be it the current alliance which is in power, the Mahayuti alliance. We know that there are two NCPs at present, and the leaders of the NCP, Ajit Pawar faction, had maintained that they want this distant to remain, and because of which as soon as the entire last rites and procession was completed for departed Ajit Pawar, it was that a meeting was called into the closed doors in Baramati, the land of the Pawars, wherein behind closed doors it was decided in the presence of senior leaders like Chhagan Bhujbal, Praful Patel, as well as Sunil Tatkare, who was then the party president, that this needs to be taken over and there needs to be a way out, because of which Sunetra Pawar was then joined in an online meeting where she accepted the proposal of these leaders to be sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister of the state. She was accompanied by Jai Pawar, her younger son, and Parth Pawar, the elder one, was in Baramati meeting Sharad Pawar. However, it is likely that in the evening he'll be flying back to Mumbai to, of course, to meet his mother and the newly sworn in female Deputy Chief Minister. And henceforth, Mumbai today is witnessing this major political development happening, and also it is that the entire family, despite there being two separate factions, talks were underway, and it was also rife that both the Pawar factions could come together. Ajit Pawar and Sharad Pawar. Also, Jayant Patil had been an important keynote person into this entire conversation of getting the two factions together. However, it did not work out, and before it could be announced formally, which was to be told that it would be happening on the 12th of February, where both the factions were to announce that they are now just one nationalist Congress party, but we didn't see that happening. Before it was the unfortunate incident of Ajit Pawar passing away. Thereafter, to ensure that there was no vacuum and void being created under the minds of the voters, of the cadre, of the people of the party, it was important to take the command and the lead, because of which we saw that the senior leaders acting to ensure that the party remains together. And also one important factor is the Zilla Parishad elections that were to happen soon to 12 places in Maharashtra, and for which we know that Ajit Pawar was travelling in his helicopter to attend 4 different sabhas. So to ensure that the Zilla Parishad elections go on smoothly, this particular act is being done to make Sunetra Pawar as the leader of the party. And not only that, at the meeting that was called out at Vidhan Bhavan, it was wherein all of the elected MLAs, they came to a consensus that Sunetra Pawar must lead them, and she was also elected as the leader of the MLA's house. Back to the studio.
All right, Sujata, thanks so much for joining us with that. And there you can see visuals coming from the Raj Bhavan, where that swearing-in ceremony is going to take place in a short while from now. So major developments, in fact, taking place in Maharashtra already. The political landscape in the state has changed with the death of Ajit Pawar, and now these developments with today Sunetra Pawar being elected as the head of the legislative party of the NCP, and it's expected that she will also become president perhaps of the NCP, just like her husband was, and she's going to become Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra in just a short while from now. Her name was proposed for the NCP legislative party by Chhagan Bhujbal, senior leader, and backed by other senior leaders. At the same time, there were parallel developments that took place in Baramati, the Pawar family borough, where Sharad Pawar, the patriarch of the NCP, announced to the media that he had no idea, he did not know that Sunetra Pawar was being sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister. In fact, Sharad Pawar had called for a family meeting today where discussions were meant to take place. However, Sunetra Pawar, who has now entered that hall where the swearing-in ceremony will take place, she and her son left Baramati last night without informing Sharad Pawar. They left for Mumbai. In fact, it said that all these decisions, that meetings were taking place even as the cremation had taken place of Ajit Pawar. There was a meeting between Praful Patel and Sunil Tatkare where these decisions were taken, and there has been some talk of unseemly haste of these developments. The fact that Ajit Pawar died, remember, on Wednesday morning when his plane crashed, when he was going to Baramati, and it crashed on landing. It was, and now we are here Saturday as Sunetra Pawar is going to be sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister. Sharad Pawar saying that he did not know about this, also saying that there was a meeting that was held between Ajit Pawar and him, and the decision had been taken to unify, to bring back together the two factions of the NCP. But clearly the leaders. All right, Saurabh now joining us for more on all these developments. And Saurabh, in a short while from now, we will have Sunetra Pawar being sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister. Major developments taking place which will have far-reaching impact in Maharashtra politics.
Absolutely, and this is of course about, I beg your pardon, the legacy of the Pawar family. And that's something that obviously, with the passing on of the baton and the passing on of the legacy from Ajit Pawar to Sunetra Pawar, in tragic circumstances though, it means that Sunetra Pawar inherits the legacy of Ajit Pawar. Now, obviously, Ajit Pawar's stature Ajit Pawar's command over the party is something that perhaps Sunetra Pawar would take time to reach that stage, but she is no novice in politics. While she's kept a very low profile all these years, she's managed the Vidya Pratishthan in Baramati, and she's been very much a part of a political family. So in that sense, politics is not something new to her. In fact, she's married to Ajit Pawar, but her family also is a political family, and therefore she would, in a sense, now be leading the Ajit Pawar NCP. But the bigger question is, of course, the merger. What happens to that merger? Because that's something that seems to be completely up in the air, with the NCP Ajit Pawar faction not very keen, at least a certain section of that faction not very keen. Now, will Sunetra Pawar balance the family ties with the political the sort of ambitions and aspirations of her party men? How she does that is something that is yet to be seen. But to say that she's a political novice would be a wrong statement, because this is someone who does have a grasp, if not years of experience. She's watched politics from a very close quarters, and therefore she would have some inclination. Now also, the fact is that the Sharad Pawar wing says that this merger was something that Ajit Pawar wanted, and in a sense that may stand true, given the fact that Ajit Pawar did want Sharad Pawar's stamp of approval and authority as the inheritor of the legacy of the NCP, something that hadn't come but was on the cards if that merger had come through. So how Sunetra Pawar navigates this very tricky position of balancing family ties with political aspirations is something that will be a test of her political acumen.
And even as we're seeing these visuals coming from inside the hall, it's very clear. Sunetra Pawar is sitting right next to Praful Patel there in the hall, and Praful Patel, Chhagan Bhujbal, Sunil Tatkare, these leaders of the NCP clearly not in favor of that unification. Why should they be? They don't want to share this pie that they have being a part of the Mahayuti, and rather than having the stronger faction of Sharad Pawar also coming in.
Yes, obviously Sharad Pawar is a politician who wields immense influence, and in fact it's unparalleled in a sense, the kind of influence and the kind of hold Sharad Pawar has even without power today in Baramati. If there is a section that respects Mr. Pawar, that respects Senior Pawar, he may not have the political hold like Ajit Pawar has at this point, or Ajit Pawar had, but there is no doubt that he is definitely a very strong power center to contend with, and therefore this faction of the NCP wouldn't want to have his power center also becoming a decisive factor in their political maneuverings. And remember, you also have Supriya Sule. Now, in terms of the years in politics, Supriya Sule has been the MP from Baramati. She defeated Sunetra Pawar, in fact, in that last election from Baramati. But again, we now see, I think, the convoys pulling in of ministers, and leaders, and we're seeing a lot of people drive in to the Raj Bhavan as we speak for that ceremony that's going to begin any moment now. We're expecting others also to arrive. Sunetra Pawar, as we
all those developments taking place, we also have with us Smriti Kopikar, senior journalist and founding editor, Question of Cities. Thank you so much for joining us. Your comments on these fast-paced developments taking place there in Mumbai and what it means going forward for the NCP for Sharad Pawar.
There are several layers to unpack here. To begin with, should the state celebrate that it has its first deputy chief minister as a woman? Sure, but under what circumstances? This is not a woman who's risen up the ranks, who's done all the groundwork, hard work, found her way in the party and then has been given the position. She inherits this position. She inherits the party. She will inherit probably the leadership of the party. that her father-in-law, so to speak, started and nurtured, and her husband then carried.
All right, so as you can see, that ceremony is about to begin with the governor, chief minister, and the other deputy chief minister, Eknath Shinde, there in the hall. Let's go across to Saurabh Gupta for more. And Saurabh, in just a short while from now, Sunetra Pawar to be sworn in as a deputy chief minister, filling in that position that was held by her husband, Ajit Pawar. Big shoes to fill, really, and we'll have to see whether, whether she can hold the NCP together the way her husband did, isn't it?
That's right. In fact, holding the NCP together would be, of course, the challenge, because there will be now attempts by the Sharad Pawar camp also to exert its position, its influence with Ajit Pawar missing. Now, let's face it that Ajit Pawar was groomed by Sharad Pawar, and therefore he had a certain charisma, he had a certain space, he had a certain command. And that command was something that eventually overshadowed his uncle's command, and therefore, when he went, majority of the NCP went with him, and he, of course, became the NCP, while Sharad Pawar was left with lesser MLAs, lesser MPs. But having said that, in the absence of Ajit Pawar, does Sunetra Pawar have the political capital to fill in that gap? Now, it's too early to decide. Sunetra Pawar, like I said, is no political novice. She may not have had the years of experience in government or having been an elected representative, but when it comes to the ground level politics and when it comes to management of institutions that were closely linked to Ajit Pawar, like the Vidya Pratishthan in Baramati, Sunetra Pawar has that experience. Also, she comes from a political family, Padam Singh Patil. So, in all of this, one cannot say that Sunetra Pawar is a complete political novice, and therefore it will be interesting to see how Sunetra Pawar navigates the political minefield that she is walking into. On the one hand, you have, an assertive Sharad Pawar faction, but he also has, the support of the BJP. Let's not forget that, because I can confirm this, within hours of Ajit Pawar's demise, Sunetra Pawar, it was indicated to her that she would have to take on the mantle of leadership. And she hasn't had time to process the grief and the loss, because I think it would have dawned on the NCP led by Ajit Pawar that unless you have a Pawar at the helm of the party, it would be a difficult proposition to keep the party together. Now, we also have more people driving in for the ceremony. This is, of course, the Speaker Rahul Narvekar driving in to the Lok Bhavan. The Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly, Rahul Narvekar, now arriving at the Lok Bhavan for that oath ceremony of Sunetra Pawar. So yeah, what I was getting back to is that she has a political minefield to maneuver, but again, she has the experience of running administrative, in an administrative role in institutions.
Right, Saurabh, do stay on. There you can see the ceremony there about to begin. Sunetra Pawar to be sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister.
मी सुनेत्रा अजित पवार गांभीर्यपूर्वक प्रतिज्ञा करते की कायद्याद्वारे स्थापित झाले आहे अशा भारताच्या संविधानाबद्दल मी खरी श्रद्धा व निष्ठा बाळगीन. मी भारताची सार्वभौमता व एकात्मता उन्नत राखीन. मी महाराष्ट्र राज्याची उपमुख्यमंत्री म्हणून माझी कामे निष्ठापूर्वक व ससद विवेक बुद्धीने पार पाडीन आणि संविधान व कायदा यानुसार सर्व तऱ्हेच्या लोकांना मी गांभीर्यपणे व निपक्षपातीपणे तसेच कोणाच्याही विषयी ममत्वभाव किंवा आकस न बाळगता न्याय वागणूक देईन. मी सुनेत्रा अजित पवार गांभीर्यपूर्वक प्रतिज्ञा करते की महाराष्ट्र राज्याची उपमुख्यमंत्री म्हणून माझ्या विचारार्थ आणली जाईल किंवा मला ज्ञात होईल अशी कोणतीही बाब अशी उपमुख्यमंत्री म्हणून माझी कामे यथायोग्य पार पाडण्यासाठी आवश्यक असेल ते खेरीज करून एरवी मी कोणत्याही व्यक्तीला किंवा व्यक्तींना प्रत्यक्षपणे वा अप्रत्यक्षपणे कळवणार नाही किंवा त्यांच्याकडे उघड करणार नाही.
धन्यवाद.
Saurabh Gupta there with us. Saurabh, we're watching, Sunetra Pawar shortly after she was sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister, sloganeering taking place, supporters and, workers of the NCP there saying that Ajit Pawar, Amar Rahe, Aage Badho. So, sloganeering also taking place. Very serious and as you were, mentioning earlier, that Sunetra Pawar, it's just been so soon after her husband died. He died on Wednesday, and today she's being sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, a post that he held several times, in fact, a record number of times. A lot to take in, lots of developments there, and this is going to have far-reaching impact on the politics of Maharashtra.
Yes, Sunetra Pawar has now become the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. She has taken oath as Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra at the Lok Bhavan in Mumbai. Now, what this means is that she has taken her husband's position. Ajit Pawar, as we know, died at that plane crash on Wednesday. But what now is going to be the biggest challenge for Sunetra Pawar is tackling the political minefield she is walking into. On the one side, you have an assertive Sharad Pawar faction that is saying that the merger of the NCP that was on the cards was something that Ajit Pawar, her late husband, wanted. The other side, you have top leaders of the NCP of the Ajit Pawar faction saying no to the merger and halting talks. So, balancing family ties and political aspirations of our party's leaders and MLAs will be the biggest challenge that Sunetra Pawar will have to face. It will be a test of a political acumen, but also let's not forget that she walks into this role in a sympathy wave. She will have to get elected to the House. In all likelihood, she will fight from the Baramati assembly seat that was held by Ajit Pawar. If there's a by-election, in all likelihood in Maharashtra, there has been a custom that when a leader dies, usually if a family member is contesting, other political parties shy away from fielding a candidate in respect of the family that have lost a loved one and respected leaders. So in that context, her election is not going to be much of a challenge, unless, of course, the family ties become a challenge. Because remember, Sunetra Pawar had to fight an election in Baramati with Supriya Sule, and in that election, Supriya Sule won. So this is going to be a test of a political acumen, how she balances family ties versus political aspirations of party men, and how even this morning we saw when Sharad Pawar dropped that bombshell that he did not know she was going to be sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister, while Sunetra Pawar may have been in Mumbai, Parth Pawar, her elder son, rushed to the Sharad Pawar residence. So that's still the kind of influence that Sharad Pawar wields, and therefore Sunetra Pawar will have to deal with that. But let's not also forget that Sunetra Pawar is a part of the Mahayuti, the ruling alliance, and has the support of the BJP. In fact, we know within hours of Ajit Pawar's death, it was communicated to her that she would have to take on the mantle of leadership. Difficult, tragic circumstances, hardly any time to process the grief, but politics does not pause even in times of tragedy. That's the first lesson perhaps Sunetra Pawar has experienced firsthand, and now of course the political challenge, having been sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra.
That's right. Some may describe it as unseemly haste. However, as you said, Saurabh, that you can't have that vacuum in the power mix. And let's go across to Sujata now, who has been tracking all these developments. In fact, she was tracking Sunetra Pawar's movements as well. And Sujata, now, as you'll see Sunetra Pawar again, she is the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, the first woman Deputy Chief Minister, as we keep emphasizing, though, of course, she has come into that position through very tragic circumstances. It still remains to be seen what this means, if we look at the wider picture, the macro picture in terms of the NCP, and of course her father-in-law as such, Sharad Pawar, what reactions are there? None of them were present for this. Supriya Sule in Delhi. Sujata, over to you.
Well, absolutely. And this is a very stark and a somber example of political survival that has started, that has been done by the NCP in this very scenario, because, they were of the view that the head is gone, but the lineage must remain, because of which we saw this happening. And now that Sunetra Pawar has been sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister of the state, this is going to be a responsibility for her to ensure to not only take on the role and the political legacy of Ajit Pawar ahead, but also to work on the vacuum that has been created in the minds of the cadre, to ensure that they do have a leader, they do have that face who's going to look up to them. And also in view of the upcoming Zilla Parishad elections, this was important, for which senior faces from the NCP faction like Praful Patel, then there was Sunil Tatkare and the other leader Praful Patel, who came in and they ensured that this step was taken up. They conducted an online meeting with Sunetra Pawar, explaining her that why was it important for the stark movement of getting her sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister, and how this would even help the party sustain in this very political scenario of Maharashtra. Despite it was the Sharad Pawar faction who did try in the initial days, in the initial few hours after the final rites were concluded, trying to show the unity that both the families had, but despite it, meetings were called in without informing the Sharad Pawar faction, in which we also saw Sharad Pawar giving up a statement in the morning that he was not informed and he was not consulted before making any such decision. So an assertive Sharad Pawar stating that he was unaware, he was also not consulted, not approached by any of the leader of the NCP Ajit Pawar faction, and whatever goes on just goes on is what he was of the view of. So this remains an important task for Sunetra Pawar, but despite this is also going to be important for the other leaders, the other parties of the Mahayuti, which is the BJP and the Shiv Sena, to gel up with Sunetra Pawar as the Deputy Chief Minister, because we know that several big projects coming up in Maharashtra. It is the Zilla Parishad election, it is the upcoming budget, which earlier was to be presented by departed Ajit Pawar, but now will it be presented by the Chief Minister himself, or will the finance portfolio be given to Sunetra Pawar, is a bigger question in the fray to be answered later. But at this point, it is to watch out for whether will Sunetra Pawar get all the portfolios that were held by Ajit Pawar, and if not, then which other important ones will she take over. So certainly a stark movement by the NCP without consulting the Sharad Pawar faction. Back to you.
All right, Sujata, thanks so much for joining us. With that, we also have our guests with us, Dr. Mayur Parekh, Sudhir Suryavanshi and Smriti Kopikar, all waiting very patiently. Thank you so much. And Smriti, I know you were speaking earlier just as Sunetra Pawar, her swearing in took place. And I have to say, I don't understand Marathi, but she was very somber. She did the pledge. She was sworn in very smoothly. The pledge that she took, though, going forward, it's not going to be so smooth sailing. She's going to have to navigate a lot of political minefields, isn't it, Smriti?
That's right. It's a standard oath, whether one takes it in Marathi or English or any other language. It's a standard oath. But what I want to point out is that this evening, at 5 o'clock, a new chapter has started in Maharashtra's politics that is going to have ramifications over the next few weeks, months, perhaps even years. And these ramifications will be felt in the NCP that Mr. Ajit Pawar headed. We still don't know who the leader is, but perhaps that also would be Sunetra Pawar. So there will be some ramifications and outcomes and fallouts in the party. There will be ramifications between the NCP and NCP Sharad Pawar faction. There are going to be some rumblings and outcomes of all of this on Maharashtra's politics about how much more dominant the ruling BJP becomes or doesn't become. And this move, the ruling party has ensured that it continues to remain the most dominant. It continues to be the one to call the shots, never mind whose party it is and who else headed it, and so on and so forth. And irrespective of the fact that Chief Minister Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar shared an extremely trusted, amicable, affectionate relationship. But when it comes to politics, really, there are no friends, no foes, and perhaps no relatives either. And what you see today, therefore, is to my mind, the opening of a new chapter in the state's politics. We're going to see different NCP. We're going to see different reactions from the opposition. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, Mrs. Sunetra Pawar is not Mr. Ajit Pawar. She doesn't have those kinds of smarts, those kinds of connects, the personal connect that he had, and the ability to ride over setbacks, failures, accusations. Don't forget that Fadnavis, during the election campaign, had sworn that he would make Ajit Pawar do chucky pissing, and none of us have forgotten that. And then within years, literally Ajit Pawar was shaking his hands and hugging him and sitting next to him and sharing power. Now that's kind of a rare trait in politics. So Sunetra is probably not exactly what her husband was, and she cannot be, let's give her that. But she is no novice either, and that's a fact too. And so how she navigates the next few weeks really is going to be extremely crucial, because she is responding to the strings that are being pulled from outside her party. That much, I think, is very clear to most of us now. Those
even within the party, the senior leaders, Praful Patel, Chhagan Bhujbal, and Sunil Tatkare as well. But Sudhir Suryavanshi, we spoke about the political minefields going forward. We do know Sharad Pawar unhappy because he said to the media that he had no idea about the fact that she's going to be sworn in. He also said that the meeting had taken place with Ajit Pawar for the unification of the NCP. But significantly, Parth Pawar went to meet with Sharad Pawar. So clearly, there's an effort to keep that, talks on and keep that connection within the family. How do you see it?
See, one thing we need to understand about the Pawar family, they are very pragmatic sort of political leader, and I think the Parth Pawar who went to meet Sharad Pawar, the family is also important. They don't want to strain their ties. But at the same time, they also don't want to come under the shadow of Mr. Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule, and the Rohit Pawar. It is very clear. Sharad Pawar also categorically said several times, family and politics is two completely different things. And the path has done his job by meeting the Sharad Pawar and the Supriya Sule, by inviting or pursuing them for the vote ceremony of his mother, which happened now in Mumbai. So it's very clear for them. But an interesting part, what I see, as I think this first time the things are unfolding without connecting to Sharad Pawar. Generally, Maharashtra politics is always unfold around Sharad Pawar. But first time is and it is happening, and the people who are part of his family, they are doing it. They are deliberately cutting the ties, political ties, not the family ties. Family ties will be continue, like that also, because Sunetra Pawar will go back to Baramati. Many rituals said to be completed about Ajit Pawar. They will go back. Family will be again seen together. But political ties, what I see, that will be completely different. That will be, as Smriti said, it will be new chapter. And this new chapter for the Sunetra Pawar, the Ajit Pawar has left a big shoes, and she has to feel it. And because Ajit Pawar was the face of Maratha Bahujan politics, he was the last titan of the Maratha politics. Many youth, particularly in Maratha, he has big, fan following among them. And Sunetra Pawar comes from the Marathwada. She is, a sister of Padma Singh Patil, who passed away a few years back. So she knew how to handle the things. And Marathwada is, always seen the politics very closely. And she was married to the Western Maharashtra politician. So it's not, tough, or it's not also easy for us. So she has to manage the thing. So as a, observer or political analyst, we should also give the breathing time to her, and to her evolve, or to her unfold it. I think she is very few word lady. She will not talk much. If you've seen during the campaign also, 2024, Supriya Sule versus Sunetra Pawar, she had not spoken much against the Sharad Pawar. Even Sharad Pawar has, made some very weird sort of comment कि Baramati will vote for the, the real Pawar, not the Pawar from the outsider. That time when her reaction was sort of, she just cried. She just cried. She didn't say anything. So she knew how her father-in-law also treated her. She knew how her husband also treated by the Pawar. So I think she is very clear in her mind. They are very clear in their mind. Therefore, the follower of the Ajit Pawar and the Praful Patel, then Chhagan Bhujbal, then Sunil Tatkare, and they were the people who always stood with Ajit Pawar during his crisis time. And they are very close to Ajit Pawar. And these are the only people who pursue him to join the BJP also. So I think, and they want to join, align with the BJP. But now the question is how they will sustain. Because BJP is like an elephant in the room. It will not leave the Ajit Pawar, in absence of Ajit Pawar, Supriya Sule, as an easy walk also. They will also see to cut two sides their political, the strength in Western Maharashtra and many parts of the. So they have to not only remain in governance, they also sustain, they also protect their citadel. That is also important for her also. Otherwise, it will be end game for the NCP.
That's right. Let me quickly get in Dr. Mayur Parekh also on that. Now the challenge really begins, isn't it? We'll have to wait and see. Can never underestimate Sharad Pawar either, given the kind of role he has played in Maharashtra politics. What happens next to this particular, faction of the NCP, even if the top leaders of the party are, solidly behind Sunetra Pawar, efforts will be made by Sharad Pawar as well in this transitional period. Right, so if you can just unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Just now we have seen the swearing-in ceremony of Maharashtra's first female deputy chief minister. What thing which comes into our mind is that there will be Chhagan Bhujbal, who may be helping him in Vidhan Sabha, how to deal with MLAs, how to deal with the questions, how to raise the questions, maybe. We don't know what the responsibilities and roles are being now will be given to the MLAs. There will be another assistance from the parliament, from Praful Patel, who will be helping Parth Pawar. in dealing with the parliamentarian affairs. There will be Sunil Tatkare, who will be heading party or will be taking decision on the party front. But the question is that the connect with Ajit Pawar and the common man, or the finance minister with the different department government officials, will Sunetra Pawar be able to take that place? Will she able to take up that position? We know Ajit Pawar, he used to come to the office at morning 6 o'clock, calling first appointment at morning 6:30, used to continue in his office till late night. Will Sunetra Pawar be able to do this? Ajit Pawar was the person who used to take the applications of the common man, go to villages and the district panchayat offices and go and call out each person by his name, and used to take the notings from the each person and reply everyone individually. Will Sunetra Pawar be doing this? This is the place and this is the point where we'll really have to see how far Sunetra Pawar is succeeded or will be continuing and will be taking the place of Ajit Pawar.
All right. Well, thank you so much all for joining us on the program. Just a short while ago, Sunetra Pawar sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Lots of challenges ahead for her. There's a big change in the political landscape of Maharashtra there. With that, we'll slip into a short break. News updates continue right here. From the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Rawat, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
Front lines of Kargil, the fury of Operation Sindhu,
so many attacks,
the chaos and cries of disaster zones, to fighter jet cockpits, and the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break, live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Center.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France, in Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig, until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
A very special moment for us as we announce NDTV Master Stroke, the NDTV Art Awards.
M3M presents NDTV Master Stroke Art Awards. An odyssey of creative brilliance where the masterpiece meets its ultimate recognition.
NDTV bringing this subject forward would have a great integrity of putting it forward where people could understand the importance of art.
This award that is being started, I'm sure is going to be amazing.
Art for India and for Indians.
Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. I know we've had several conversations, and I must tell you that late last night I spoke to him at around 11:30 p.m. Through his colleague Saurabh's phone, and he said, if you want to see it at 12 o'clock, you can come. Otherwise, by 2 o'clock in the morning, I will make sure that it's there with you. Or by 8 in the morning, I will definitely send it across for you to check whether it works fine and all that. So he's been up all night virtually working on this documentary. Why don't you share with us the importance of the message today and also what went into making of the film, and also explain the tracking of the lead that comes from Italy to India?
Thank you for offering this platform to pass on our message. So when you appreciate my filmmaking, I blushed because I didn't make this film. It made itself. It was already made. This I made. I'm happy that I got the stage to exhibit here in a bigger platform than we had originally planned as a centrist group. And I'm happy it's happening here. And this is a message. That's why I did not add a title, a film by Kamal Haasan. The hero of the film and the writer of the film is Mr. Gandhi. Mr. M.K. Gandhi. And the passing on of the message is the onus is upon us, as he said. All I can say for his message is, Ji Gopalji, karenge. So that's what we are doing. A man who made his life a message, we are passing it on. We are not propagandists. We want to live like that.
When you say we are passing on the message, we are passing on that message to a next generation. It is incumbent upon the generation that saw it to pass the knowledge and the experience on to the next generation. Do you believe that the discussion on the Mahatma has fallen prey to political partisanship and a polarized political environment in terms of judging history?
No. Gandhi made his life a message because of this dichotomy. When he came here, he found the best way to deal with it. He's a tactician. Please do not misunderstand the word tactics for deceit. He's a kind man. And he knew that this country, which has so many cultures, so many languages, first can be communicated only with love and kindness. So he chose that path. Instead of deceit or revolt, because the world had seen enough. Second World War was done. And he saw it, the inception of it. And he saw where it ended. And he wrote a letter even to Hitler. They heckled him. And now we are passing on the message.
So what's the lesson for today's politicians and those who speak of ideology or in public service from the Mahatma? What do you think is the most important message, and what's perhaps most lost?
The most important message from my side, it's not my wisdom, it's my feeling. Please stop calling him Mahatma. He is a mortal, but his idea is immortal. So he is an idea, and we have to absorb it and pass it on.
Are we mature enough as a society to understand a personality as an idea and, discuss him in a dispassionate manner?
Instead of asking you a question in return, I'll ask it of myself. How mature was I when I bashed an icon called Gandhi? I started that way. Because icon bashing was a sport in that age. Anybody, from headmaster, class teacher, to Gandhiji. Anybody was a target. And I matured from there to sit here on the stage. I'm sure Zenzi will conduct a show like this and talk about him, and we'll be watching from there.
I hope we will be watching from there, but what I want to ask you is that the ability of a society and people, when we celebrate somebody as an enormous figure, and it doesn't have to be just the Mahatma Gandhi.
That's where I think we're all missing the point. Don't celebrate somebody, celebrate the idea, because the man, like all of us, will be dead and gone. What he left behind is gold.
But are we moving away from it in an Instagram generation where people seem to be more driven by personalities and celebration and instant gratification rather than actually reflecting?
That's what they said of cinema. Even Gandhiji did not like cinema. My second favorite, another Gandhi Chela, Periyar, didn't like cinema. But that didn't stop me from liking them, because I was not liking them as persons, but I liked the idea and the purpose. And we can use the Instagram and talk to that generation. We must have the humility to talk to them and not talk down to them.
That's a fascinating point. Not talk down, but talk to them. I want to move forward to other topics and conversation, but I'm finding it difficult to move away from this one, which is so powerful.
No, I've been suffering for many years. Once with guilt and now with pride. I cannot get out of this discussion of this man. And somebody asked me, what, you're trying to become Gandhi? All of you try. Doesn't matter who succeeds. I'm trying. So should you.
So what's changed, let's say, from Hey Ram to now?
I'm being more succinct. Hey Ram was a 3.5-hour movie. This is 6 or 7 minutes. I have matured, sir.
So that's the maturity. Or are you adapting to the Instagram generation to give it just a shorter duration so that you get more views?
Imagine what Valluvar would have done with Instagram. Succinct and shoot from the hip. That's what he would have done.
No, it's fascinating that you say this. I'm just moving forward to a topic perhaps linked to the celebration of personalities. Tamil Nadu politics, and when we discuss politics in Tamil Nadu, it's so intertwined with cinema. What is this connection? And I'm not talking of personalities. I want to understand, is there something deep in the socio-economic ethos of Tamil Nadu that makes it, or of Tamil cinema, that makes it so intertwined with the politics of the state?
No, it so happened that the hub of cinema of India were happening in 2-3 places, and mainly in Bengal, Bombay to an extent, but the pan-Indian cinema was being produced from Chennai. I'm not bragging. You can check. And when we started with Keechakavadam. And it didn't connect with people. They've heard better renditions of it by Harikatha Upanyasaks. They were the stars of the time. So cinema didn't connect because they can hear a better version of it on stage, sitting in their village and listening to a Pandit speak on it. Then the business of cinema realized that you need more audience. And to touch the audience, you'll have to touch their problem. And then moved in the politicians. It was a fantastic stage. It was cheaper. And you don't need permission. And then came the censors. So that's a long story.
It's a fascinating story that you say, but what does it take for a star to transform himself into a politician? If I ask you this, you will say that you were always a politician or an ideologue at some level.
No, you can't escape. If you're voting, even notas are politicians. You have to be politician. Politician doesn't mean wearing the garb and talking that lingo. You have to think the idea of politics and why it's there, and you have to participate. Otherwise, politics will take over your personal life, which it's starting to do now.
You know, you say you don't have to speak that lingo, but have you started speaking that lingo? Have you had a force to speak?
Does it sound like that, sir?
No, not here.
I can, because I'm an actor. I can get into character. But I have practiced it. My first dialogue, or many actors' first dialogue to enter into the industry, the litmus test, was Parashakti dialogue. We were all politicized. நீதிமன்றம் விசித்திரமான பல வழக்குகளை சந்தித்திருக்கிறது, விசித்திரமான மனிதர்களையும் சந்தித்திருக்கிறது. வழக்காடும் நான் விசித்திரமான மனிதனும் அல்ல, இவ்வழக்கு விசித்திரமானதும் அல்ல. That's how he started. And we memorized it. I was 4 when I was politicized. I was 4 when I learned Tamil. And my Tamil teachers taught me for free. And the primary among them was Kalaignar. And my pronunciation came from Shivaji Saab. And my deeper understanding of the language came from Kannadasan. That is Tamil cinema for you, with or without politics. It taught me language.
Is that the core connection? Is that the core connection of language which is driving politics as well at some level? And also the language identity that's espoused in cinema?
Yes, language will drive politics, be it Bihar or be it Tamil Nadu. The word
does it drive
of
Tamil Nadu?
Atal Bihari Vajpayee Saab is lilting. So is Kalaignar's.
But does it drive, you know, where does it, and I'll ask you this question, and I know, you know, you have very strong positions on this, and I do too, and I'm as passionate, maybe not as well versed as you, so I'm definitely not as well versed as you are, but passionate about language and my identity. But I ask you this, when does love for language turn into a frenzy? When does it turn into a political ideology, and is it healthy?
See, love for anything, father, mother, woman, girlfriend, wife, is a two-way action. So language is my cultural pride. And that's where it stays. I love my language. To love my language, I don't have to hate another. If I want him to love my language, I can love his language, but do not impose it on us. Leave the choice to the people. And in the process of earning a living, whatever language comes my way or anybody's way, they will learn it. It's just a communication device. But when it comes to me personally, it's my feeling, it's my expression. And it's me. Most of me is my language.
Do you believe that there is an atmosphere of imposition genuinely? Because in spirit, the argument of imposition, if I were to argue, has just helped fuel a particular political narrative? Or do you believe there is substantive evidence to show that there is an effort to impose?
Love should never become toxic. It's mutual. Be it marriage of languages, it cannot be toxic and it cannot be imposed. Leave us the choice. I left the choice to myself. I didn't allow anyone to impose on it. And I learned Hindi at age 27. I didn't know a word of Hindi. The very little Hindi I knew was my friends calling me names, and I said, "What are you calling me?" He said, "It's a bad word, so teach me that." That is the first Hindi I learned. That's how a Hindi man learns Tamil also. But then hate becomes love and he dives deep into the language. That's how I went to learn. I furthered my Hindi education and learned Hindi and spoke dialects in it. But I can't write Hindi at all, but I can very barely manage to. So I have the dubious distinction of being not so literate in about 6 languages. And maybe a scholar in 3, or wannabe scholar in 3.
Okay.
You want to know which 3?
Yeah, which 3?
Tamil, English, and cinema.
As a language, cinema as a language.
Cinemas can speak any language.
As
with subtitles, of course.
No, interesting that you say that. You know, I was actually going to ask you, you know, at some level, where do you stand on the 2-language versus 3-language formula argument that's on? Do you see a 3-language formula as an imposition? And I'm bringing another side of the argument here, because when you hear it in Chennai, the argument sounds very different from when you hear it in Delhi.
It depends on where the formula is formulated. I'm not going to gulp down any formula you give me. I want to know which laboratory it came from. So formulas are formulas. My need is people's need. Formulate an idea that will be useful for my need.
So you don't see this debate as something that's only divisive on political lines? Do you believe that the 2-language versus 3-language formula debate is a genuine one? And Tamil Nadu...
Now let's broaden this issue and take it to 2-3 languages to 20 languages. Let them learn it at their leisure, at their convenience. Do not thrust it down my throat. Do not give me marks. I want to earn my right to speak my language, and I want to earn wealth. And I'll go anywhere. I'll go to America and speak like an American. Many Indians are doing it. I'm not being parochial and say many Tamilians are doing it, many Punjabis are doing it, many Gujaratis are doing it, many Malayalis are doing it. Of course, we'll carry our accent with us. We'll never let it go. Anybody who lets go and becomes very Yankee in their speech, we just laugh, smirk among ourselves, but we'll never insult him because he's trying to belong.
No, interesting that you say that. And it's a very important, nuanced point that you're making, saying do it out of choice, let people do it out of choice, and let's move forward, you know, in the right spirit. I'm going to broaden this discussion again into something a little more intensely political, which is about the center-state relations. And you've had a confrontational situation between the center and the states and virtually several opposition-ruled states. And you're now a Rajya Sabha MP. How do you negate this in Delhi? What's your sense after you've been a parliamentarian in terms of the center's approach? Are you able to see both sides of the coin? Or do you still believe that this divide is something that's going to define politically the relationship between states and center in India?
The coin is mine. I'll look at the side I want to. I'm not going to toss it up and wait for you to win or me to win. The coin is ours. Whichever side you want. Depends on where you place the coin and which side you're standing on it. The coin is useful for both of us. and it's just currency.
So, okay, let me just last couple of questions, and I do want to ask you a couple of questions on cinema, but the last one on politics. But how has it been being part of an alliance in Tamil Nadu and being in Parliament in Delhi? What do you see your own role in, as far as the part of this alliance is concerned, and in these elections? What do you see? Do you see yourself as the star campaigner?
I can only talk for myself and the leader of the alliance, because of whom I am there in this alliance. Some of us have become very close friends in the alliance. And the reason is both emotional, national, and sensible. When I am in Delhi, I'll speak for Tamil Nadu. When I'm in Tamil Nadu, I have to make them understand the whole of India, not Delhi, the whole of India. I'll speak for India everywhere.
It's fascinating that you say this. I hope and pray that it's true that, these ideals can be followed in politics, but sometimes the skeptic in all of us tends to question whether this is actually true or this is just an act.
No, don't question politics. Keep the skeptic alive and ask bigger questions. I have already asked it. I've asked it of God, and these are mere mortals. That's what I feel. மெய்ப்பொருள் கான் பிரதர் மெய் என்பதை ஸ்கெப்டிக்கலா பார்த்துட்டோம்னா எதுவுமே மெய் இல்லை. இது மெய்யா இருக்க கூடுமோன்னு சந்தேகப்பட்டுட்டோம்னா அதான் சத்தியமே விஜயத்தை.
As I conclude this conversation, sir, I want to know, failure in cinema, failure of a film, not in cinema, failure of a film and failure in electoral politics. Which one do you think is more troublesome, or are they both the same?
Troublesome because I produce films. I don't produce politics. They do. So this is convenient, and that's why I want them to come to the booth without fear.
Fascinating, and I'm sure I can't let you go without either singing a song or giving us one dialogue that you think is befitting this election narrative in Tamil Nadu.
I'll translate it in Tamil. It's Atal Bihari Vajpayee's statement. I'll take the words wherever I get it from. Regimes will come, regimes will go. The nation will continue. I am a citizen. I am a part of this nation. தமிழ்ல சொல்லணும்னா அரசுகள் வீழும் எழும், நாடு நகர்ந்து கொண்டே இருக்கும் நாளையை நோக்கி. அந்த நாளை நமதாக வேண்டும்.
For a large national audience, you want to do that in Hindi as well? You want to do the same dialogue in Hindi as well?
No, I'll do it in Delhi. These are my Tamil people.
So in Tamil Nadu, it's still two-language policy. I can't tell you how fascinating this conversation was. We started with perhaps an extraordinary idea, the idea of Gandhi. And as we leave this conversation, I just want to ask you, what would be your final message that we take home today when we think of Gandhi?
Think of yourself. You'll find him there, somewhere in one corner. His ideas, not him. And that's the message you should take. Keep searching. Searching within yourself, and you'll find first yourself and other great ideas. And Gandhi will be there, I'm sure. He belongs to the pantheon of ideas, not gods.
And search for Gandhi as an idea. Thank you so much,
thank you,
Dr. Kamal Haasan, for having this fascinating conversation.
Thank you.
And sharing.
And thank you again, NDTV, you, for giving this platform for my Gandhi. Thank you.
It's our Gandhi. I've learned to speak like you.
I want you to join me. That's why, that's a hook.
Thank you
and
so
you
much.
swallowed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
1st February 2026, what will change? Will costs be more handy? Will my essentials get cheaper? Will my business grow bigger? Will I get richer? Will loans get easier? Will shopping be more fun? Will the prices drop so I get more? What will happen? Union Budget 2026 on NDTV Network.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground.
Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling.
They are now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do.
And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude.
We're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship.
The line of control, Shiv Arun, NDTV.
लोग कहते हैं कि जिंदगी एक फिल्म की तरह होती है, लेकिन मेरी जिंदगी सिर्फ एक फिल्म नहीं, एक ब्लॉकबस्टर फिल्म है। बचपन से पता था मेरे सपनों में दम है, आगे नहीं सबसे आगे जाना है, स्टार नहीं सुपरस्टार बन के दिखाना है। नाम मिला, फेम मिला, प्यार मिला, I was not just running, I was flying। सबकी जुबां पे बस एक ही नाम, यो हनी सिंह। लेकिन फिर ब्लॉकबस्टर कहानी में आया एक ट्विस्ट, 7वें आसमान से सीधा गिरा मैं जमीन पर। फिर क्या, खुद पे काम दोबारा शुरू, फैंस ने फिर प्यार दिखाया, फिर स्टार नहीं सुपरस्टार बनाया। है ना मेरी जिंदगी एक ब्लॉकबस्टर फिल्म। शुक्रिया आपकी प्रेयर्स का और आपके प्यार का। कॉन्सर्ट्स तो आपने बहुत देखे होंगे, बट दिस इज गोना बी कॉन्सर्ट ऑफ अ लाइफटाइम, क्योंकि मेरे फैंस ही हैं मेरी विक्ट्री, मेरी हिस्ट्री, मेरी ग्लोरी। सो कम एंड विटनेस Yo Honey Singh. This is my story.
NDTV 24/7, total domination in Davos. The world's biggest voices first. Iconic visionary Bill Gates. World Bank President Ajay Banga. IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva. IBM CEO and President Arvind Krishna. India's AI Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. NDTV is India's voice in the world. First interview with Maharashtra Chief Minister. First interview with Andhra Chief Minister. First interview with Assam Chief Minister. India's first ground event in Davos. NDTV puts India on the global stage. Davos, domination, no debate.
इनको यहाँ से जाना ही होगा।
जय मां दुर्गा। आज क्यों रोए?
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Gargi Raut, and our big story, the big developments in Maharashtra. The political landscape has changed. Sunetra Pawar is the Deputy Chief Minister, granduncle and father-in-law, in fact, Sharad Pawar, not very happy with all these developments. We'll get you all those details. Let's take a look at the headlines we're tracking. Sunetra Pawar takes oath as Maharashtra's first female Deputy Chief Minister, carries forward Ajit Dada Pawar's legacy. Maharashtra's Chief Minister Fadnavis and Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde attend the oath-taking ceremony at the Lok Bhavan. Sharad Pawar said this morning to the media that he was not consulted on Sunetra Pawar's elevation, claims Praful Patel and Sunil Tatkare took the call. Also adds that the NCP reunion talks with Ajit Pawar were moving in a positive direction. In fact, inside details of that Sharad Pawar-Ajit Pawar meeting that took place earlier in January has been accessed. That meeting over the NCP reunion took place on the 17th, where it was decided that the parties would announce their union on the 12th of February. News from West Bengal and a political face-off over the Anandapura warehouse fire. Union Home Minister Amit Shah slams Mamata Banerjee government, says that it's not an accident but that Mamata government is behind the fire in the Momo factory. And Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal speaks to NDTV after the mother of all deals with the EU, says the EU FTA is important geopolitically and that India won't be pushed into deadlines anytime to get FTAs done. He also says a robust trade deal with the United States is likely soon. All right, breaking news coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated the new Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Sunetra Pawar. He has posted on his congratulations, saying best wishes to Sunetra Pawar ji as she begins her tenure as Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, the first woman to hold this responsibility. I'm confident she will work tirelessly for the welfare of the people of the state and fulfill the vision of late Ajit Dada Pawar. Well, let's go across to Saurabh Gupta now for all these developments that have taken place. And Saurabh, in a short while ago, we saw Sunetra Pawar being sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. It's, a lot of political developments taking place in Maharashtra at, high speed. You have Sharad Pawar also declaring how he was not aware of this taking place. He is in Baramati. But first and foremost, let's talk about the new Deputy Chief Minister. Lots of challenges ahead, big shoes to fill.
Absolutely huge shoes to fill. The stature, the command over the party, the respect, the position that Ajit Pawar held is something that no one expects Sunetra Pawar to fill immediately. And she walks into a political minefield. You have an assertive Sharad Pawar group of the NCP. She has to balance family ties with political aspirations of her party men who are opposed to a merger, while Sharad Pawar this morning made it clear that it was late Ajit Pawar's wishes that the merger takes place. And it's plausible it was because Ajit Pawar did want Sharad Pawar's stamp of approval in ensuring that he inherits the legacy. Now that legacy inheritance, of course, is passed on to Sunetra Pawar. But remember, she has other members of her family who've been in politics perhaps longer than her. For example, Supriya Sule. Now Supriya Sule is someone who also fought an election against Sunetra Pawar and defeated her in that election in Baramati Lok Sabha constituency. Now, obviously, all of this makes it a complicated situation as far as the family dynamics are concerned. But Sunetra Pawar is also no novice when it comes to handling responsibility. She's handled the Vidya Pratishthan. She's seen as someone who's got her ears to the ground. She's been involved with organizations. She may not have had political position or political office like her late husband, who was Deputy Chief Minister for a record number of terms. But this is a new beginning for Maharashtra. She becomes the first woman Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra and takes on the mantle of, maneuvering this political minefield she's walking into. She's had very little time to grieve the loss of her husband. It's been political engagement also from day one. Within hours of Ajit Pawar's demise, it was indicated to her that she would have to take on the mantle of leadership because obviously the Ajit Pawar group was worried that the Sharad Pawar group may exert its influence in the absence of Ajit Pawar. So all of these political, side plays taking place at the same time. Sunetra Pawar becoming Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and it's an interesting tenure ahead for her to see how she manages that political minefield.
And therefore, sort of that very warm, congratulatory message also from the Prime Minister talking about her, filling in Ajit Pawar, the vacuum that he's left. But we'll come back to that. Some more breaking news now coming in. And remember, as we said, Sharad Pawar is in Baramati. He said he did not know about Sunetra Pawar's being sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister. Supriya Sule has gone to Delhi for the budget session. But now a reaction coming in from the Sharad Pawar side. In a sense, his grandnephew Rohit Pawar has reacted to Sunetra Pawar taking oath as Deputy Chief Minister, saying, "I'm delighted that Sunetra Bai has taken the oath as the state's first female Deputy Chief Minister." He says, "Truth be told, no one can truly take Ajit Dada's place, but at least in the form of Sunetra Bai, we can see Ajit Dada there somehow." Then he adds, "With a mountain of grief weighing on our heads and all of us immersed in mourning, we don't even know how to offer them congratulations." Well, let's go across to Sujata for more on this. And Sujata, that last line, very interesting, where he talks about this mountain of grief and not knowing how to even congratulate, because there has been talk of the unseemly haste in which all these developments have taken place. We do know that Sunetra Pawar was in Baramati yesterday. She left yesterday evening. Sharad Pawar did not even know that they had left for Mumbai. Today you had the meeting of the NCP Legislative Party, and where she was, voted as the head of the Legislative Party, and then sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister. So now Rohit Pawar, this is the first reaction coming in, where he says he congratulates her, but then he also says, with a mountain of grief and all of us immersed in mourning, we don't even know how to offer congratulations.
Well, such similar was the statement of Sharad Pawar in the morning, where he stated that, he's currently mourning and he's in a situation where it is Ajit Pawar's loss that the family is trying to get over with. But at the same time, when asked about was he aware that Sunetra Pawar was going to take the oath as the Deputy Chief Minister of the state today, he clearly seemed, disrupted. He stated that he was unaware of any such oath-taking ceremony taking place. So somewhere Sharad Pawar, clearly stated that he was not consulted and he was unaware of any such development. And now that the oath-taking ceremony has finally happened, whereas Sunetra Pawar is currently at the Devgiri residence of the Deputy Chief Minister, and soon she will be heading to Baramati shortly from now. Then there's a reaction coming in from Rohit Pawar, who of course was seen working hands-on during the entire cremation and the funeral service that was going on during Baramati. And as family members, we know that the Pawars are close. They were celebrating weddings a few days ago of Yugendra Pawar, and it was the loss that the family was grieving together. But in situations like this, where it is political battlefield for the entire NCP party as a whole, the elevation of Sunetra Pawar was not really appreciated by these leaders, we saw. And it was also sources who stated that the other faction of the Sharad Pawar faction leaders, they were clearly unhappy. They were, they somewhere felt left over, and because of which no comments earlier was given. But Rohit Pawar now coming out and stating that with a mountain of grief that they are currently in, and yet they are offering congratulations without having the idea of how to offer this with happiness, that a member of their family has sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister of the state. Back to the studio.
All right, Sujata. Well, let's talk about, what Sunetra Pawar did shortly after she was sworn in. And after being sworn in, she arrived at her Mumbai residence, that's Devgiri. And we'll just bring up those visuals on your screens now. Sunetra Pawar stepping into her husband Ajit Pawar's shoes. She also met with a large number of NCP supporters there at the residence, and well-wishers as well. We heard a lot of sloganeering even as she was being sworn in, with long live Ajit Pawar, and so lots of cheering and sloganeering in his name. So there you can see Sunetra Pawar after arriving at her residence. She is, we believe, going to be leaving for Baramati. Remember, a lot of rituals still remain. Let's go back to Saurabh for more. And Saurabh, Sunetra Pawar there at her residence, being greeted by many of the followers and supporters. She will now, however, depart for Baramati. Also interesting what I was discussing with Sujata, Rohit Pawar's reaction, congratulating, but also talking about the grief surrounding the family at this time.
Absolutely. You know, Rohit Pawar's tweet is loaded with political messaging. One cannot escape the political messaging in the tweet. Now, there have been eyebrows raised over the hurry. And like I've been saying, politics does not pause even in the times of grief. The Ajit Pawar camp was perhaps a little worried that in the absence of Sharad Pawar, in the absence of Ajit Pawar, the Sharad Pawar camp may actually try and exert its influence over the MLAs and other supporters of the party, and that's something that they wanted to avoid, which is why within hours of Ajit Pawar's demise, it was indicated and communicated to Sunetra Pawar that she would have to fill in and take over the mantle of leadership. Now in this, they are also saying that, look, you know, we are delighted. That's the family part, that she's taken oath as the state's first female deputy chief ministers. Truth be told, no one can truly take Honorable Ajit Dada's place. That's the message, that Ajit Pawar is Ajit Pawar, Sunetra Pawar is Sunetra Pawar. And that's a very loaded line in this context, in the political context, in the political atmosphere that the tweet is being made. Now, obviously, there is also going on to say we can see Ajit Dada there somehow, accepting the fact that, of course, this is Ajit Dada's legacy and it's being passed on to her. And then making the point that with this mountain of grief weighing on our heads and all of us immersed in mourning, we don't even know how to offer them congratulations, which is again driving home that message that perhaps things are being rushed. Now, there is a political messaging in this, no doubt. This tweet will be read into in as many ways as possible. It's not a clear congratulations. There is always that subtle messaging in that tweet.
That's right.
Something that perhaps one expected in the first reaction from the Sharad Pawar camp.
Right, the little sting in the tail of that, message, congratulatory message. Thanks so much, Saurav, for joining us. So lots of developments, change in the Maharashtra political landscape. Let's take you through all that's taken place. Sunetra Pawar, the wife and widow of NCP chief Ajit Pawar, took oath today as the first woman deputy chief minister of Maharashtra. This comes just days after Ajit Pawar died in a plane crash in Baramati. That plane crash taking place on Wednesday morning. It was a shocking, news really. And Sunetra Pawar today earlier was unanimously elected as the NCP legislature party leader. Her name was then proposed by party leader Chhagan Bhujbal and seconded by Dilip Patil and a host of other NCP MLAs during the swearing-in ceremony. Ajit Dada Amar Rahe chants we heard echoing through the hall of the Lok Bhavan where that swearing-in was taking place. However, conspicuous by their absence, and really that is the other big story today, is Sharad Pawar and Supriya Sule, who skipped this ceremony. In fact, Sharad Pawar even saying he was not aware of it. Sunetra Pawar earlier was at the assembly and attended the legislative party meeting, as we said, where she was elected as the chief. Supriya Sule has left for Delhi for where she's going to be attending the budget session. So a lot of developments there in the NCP and of course lots of questions over what happens next between the two factions. Let's just listen in to the various reactions we've been getting through the day.
पहले जो है उप मुख्यमंत्री जो है एक महिला महाराष्ट्र राज्य को मिली है। हम तो चाहेंगे कि महिला मुख्यमंत्री भी बननी चाहिए, मगर यह है कि जो हादसा हुआ है अजीत दादा के बारे में वो अभी भी सबके नज़रों के सामने है। फिर भी जो है कि 3 दिन अभी मिले सब लोग और ठीक ढंग से जो है एक मत से जो है ये तय हुआ कि उनको जो है हम लीडर हमारा नेता चुनेंगे।
सुनेत्रा बहनी ने हमेशा अजीत दादा का कठिन समय में टाइम दिया है, कठिन समय में उनका साथ दिया है और आज जब महाराष्ट्र को ज़रूरत है तब भी सुनेत्रा बहनी जी ने ये इतनी बड़ी जिम्मेदारी ली है, तो कार्यकर्ताओं के लिए बहुत अच्छा है। और अजीत दादा हमेशा लाडकी बहनों के भाई माने जाते थे, तो आज अगर एक महिला डिप्टी सीएम आ रही है महाराष्ट्र में तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात है हम सबके लिए, राष्ट्रवादी कांग्रेस पार्टी।
महिला उप मुख्यमंत्री बनी है, वो बात एक बात अच्छी भी है और दूसरी तरफ से दादा हमारे में नहीं है, ये बात बुरी भी है। अब ऐसे सिचुएशन में हमको तो आगे जाना है और हमारे पास में कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है। हमारे पास में एक ही ऑप्शन है सुनेत्रा बहनी, जो हमको लेके सबको लेके साथ में लेके चल सकती है और उनके फैमिली में से किसी न किसी को आगे आना था तो वहीनी की शपथ विधि हुई है और हमको लगता है कि वो अच्छा काम करेंगे।
अजीत दादा पवार एक बहुत ही नेक आदमी थे, बहुत काम करने वाले थे और 3 दिन पहले ही उनका एयरपोर्ट क्रैश में मृत्यु हुआ है और महाराष्ट्र की पहली घटना है। और कुछ नेता मतलब एयरपोर्ट क्रैश में चले गए थे, लेकिन महाराष्ट्र की पहली घटना थी। और अजीत दादा पवार रुकने वाले नहीं थे, काम करने वाले थे। कोई दुख का समय आता है तो भी उसको बाजू में रखकर नेक्स्ट डे काम पे लगते थे। इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि यहाँ अजीत दादा जी की याद रखने के लिए बहुत जल्दी शपथ जरूर हो रहा है। और सुनेत्रा पवार जी डिप्टी सीएम बन गई, पहली महाराष्ट्र की डिप्टी सीएम महिला बन गई है, तो उनको हमारी शुभेच्छा है। दादा के याद में वो बहुत अच्छा काम करते रहे, ऐसा हमको विश्वास है।
All right, so reactions there to Sunetra Pawar being sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister. We'll slip into a short break. More coming up on the other side. Stay with us.
Mumbai are bringing our first India tour in your city. Rag on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets on Live Your City by Fever.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free for all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
Alright team, our new order show is ready. Now we need a promo. Something cool, something sharp.
Well, I'm sure we'll be having outstanding reviews, solid suggestions,
Expert advice, the latest trends. It's a lot simpler. We'll help people make the right auto decisions. It's got the cool stuff, geeky stuff, serious stuff, all of it, so that you can discover, decide and drive. I'm Siddharth Sharma and I am your Automate. Across the country,
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV Network.
Straight from the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
horrors of Kargil, the fury of Operation Sindhu,
so many attacks,
the chaos and cries of disaster zones, to fighter jet cockpits, and the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France, in Italy. At Srinagar. And in France. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
A very special moment for us as we announce NDTV Masterstroke, the NDTV Art Awards.
M3M presents NDTV Masterstroke Art Awards. An odyssey of creativity.
Welcome back. The big political story from Maharashtra. Sunetra Pawar taking oath as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra after Ajit Pawar's death. And now a reaction coming in from the Congress party. Congress leader Udit Raj has questioned the haste in which this was done, saying when someone dies, nothing is done for 12 to 13 days, no celebration or festival, but politics is something that disregards all rituals and traditions.
देखिए, जब कहीं मैयत होती है या किसी का देहांत होता है किन्हीं कारणों की वजह से, तो 12-13 दिन तक तो कुछ लोग करते ही नहीं और आना जाना भी बंद कर देते हैं और साल भर तो कोई त्योहार नहीं मनाते। लेकिन सत्ता एक ऐसी चीज है कि वो सारे रीति रिवाज परंपराओं की धज्जियां उड़ाते हुए ये सारी मतलब है कि ये काम कर लिया जाता है, तो ये बड़ा विरोधाभास दिखता है। 13 दिन तक इंतजार नहीं किया है।
Well, with that, we'll slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere. Up next is Tech 360. Do keep watching.
First February 2026. What will change? Will costs be more handy? Will my essentials get cheaper? Will my business grow bigger? Will I get richer? Will loans get easier? Will shopping be more fun? Will the prices drop? So I get more. What will happen? Union Budget 2026 on NDTV Network.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground.
Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling.
They're now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do.
And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude,
we're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship.
The line of control, Shiv Arur, NDTV.
लोग कहते हैं कि जिंदगी एक फिल्म की तरह होती है, लेकिन मेरी जिंदगी सिर्फ एक फिल्म नहीं, एक ब्लॉकबस्टर फिल्म है। बचपन से पता था मेरे सपनों में दम है, आगे नहीं सबसे आगे जाना है, स्टार नहीं सुपरस्टार बन के दिखाना है। नाम मिला, फेम मिला, प्यार मिला, I was not just running, I was flying। सबकी जुबां पे बस एक ही नाम, यो हनी सिंगर। लेकिन फिर ब्लॉकबस्टर कहानी में आया एक ट्विस्ट। 7वें आसमान से सीधा गिरा मैं जमीन पर। फिर क्या, खुद पे काम दोबारा शुरू। फैंस ने फिर प्यार दिखाया, फिर स्टार नहीं सुपरस्टार बनाया। है ना मेरी जिंदगी एक ब्लॉकबस्टर फिल्म। शुक्रिया आपकी प्रेयर्स का और आपके प्यार का। कॉन्सर्ट्स तो आपने बहुत देखे होंगे, बट दिस इज गोना बी कॉन्सर्ट ऑफ अ लाइफटाइम, क्योंकि मेरे फैंस ही हैं मेरी विक्ट्री, मेरी हिस्ट्री, मेरी ग्लोरी। सो कम एंड विटनेस Yo-Yo Honey Singh. This is my story.
NDTV 24/7, total domination in Davos.
Hello and welcome to your favorite technology show, Tech 360. It's nice to be in warmer weather, not in Davos. And of course, low AQI compared to the rest of the country. Well done, Mumbai. This show is going to be jam-packed with AI, tech, flagships, the latest in mobility and auto, and a whole lot more. Let's get the show started. Okay, I have to confess, I'm not usually very impressed with flagship devices, because once you cross the 60,000 rupee price range with smartphones, it all starts seeming the same, especially in Android phones. But could Motorola have made the biggest comeback of the decade? And honestly, Motorola was the OG when it came to flip phones and a bunch of really high-tech smartphones. But then in India, it wasn't that much of a big deal. But now with the Motorola signature, I really think they could be turning the entire table and so much more. The first thing being the camera. With the processing and all the AI coming from Motorola largely being acquired by Lenovo, some of the AI features and the AI work on this with the high FPS and what it does in low light was mind-numbingly good. In fact, I have a unique connection with this device because this is my first hands-on here in India, but 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were the first Indian publication or creator present at the Nobu Hotel at CES Las Vegas in a closed doors event, experiencing this device with the Motorola leadership. And even then, I was awestruck. 1, by its camera, what it can do in terms of zoom. 2, by the AI processing and how natural the images look. And most importantly, with some of the services that they're talking about, like the concierge service, which is unique. And it's very refreshing to see that a company is doing this in India, especially with a huge focus on India. In fact, I caught up with the Motorola leadership, and the Tech 360 team caught up with the team here in Mumbai as well at their flagship event. Is this device a true bang for your buck? Well, let us tell you a little bit more about what makes this so special. And let me give you a little bit of a spoiler alert. It's the pricing.
The Motorola Signature features a 6.99 mm 186 gram aircraft-grade aluminium build with MIL STD 810H durability and IP68, IP69 protection. It has a 6.8-inch 1.5K LTPO AMOLED display with 165Hz refresh rate, Dolby Vision, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, Pantone validation, Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and up to 6200 nits of peak brightness. It runs on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 with up to 16 GB LPDDR5X RAM and up to 1 TB UFS 4.1 storage. Supported by a vapor chamber cooling system. The camera setup includes 350 megapixel Sony Litya sensors, MAME with OIS, 3x periscope telephoto with OIS, ultrawide with macro capabilities, and a 50 megapixel autofocus front camera with support for 8K Dolby Vision video. It sports a 5200 mAh silicon carbon battery that supports 90 watt wired and 50 watts wireless charging.
Now, I might like some other colors in this particular device. It's slim. A lot of the smartphones today look so similar. This is a sort of design that you can love or hate. I personally think it could have been a little bit more premium. But that said, it does look different and you can place it on a table and it doesn't wobble like a lot of other premium flagships. But we actually caught up with the design chief at Motorola at this signature event. And here's what he had to say.
It all comes down to how do we bring to life values for the consumer. In this case, we need to express premiumness. So that is a lot of research that we do. We do it with one of the best partners in the world, which is Pantone. Yeah, Pantone is our strategic partner for the last 4 years. We have a global exclusive agreement with them. So they don't work with any other smartphone manufacturer globally. They can't reveal details to us. They do have a very clear radar of where consumers are going, what consumers are going to touch and see and feel when they are shopping online or in physical retail 6 months from now. Right. And that's the strategic information that we also share together and they give us to decide, hey, this device in particular should have this martini olive color, should have this carbon color. Because when it hits the market, these colors, whether you notice it or not, you'll see that these colors are quite trendy in certain price points and in certain parts of the market, in other consumer industries. We've seen that now thanks to our work with Pantone time and time again. And that's the beauty about working strategically with them. And that's how we bring everything together. The positioning of the device, what we want to communicate from a design point of view, the consistency in the design language, so it looks and feels like Motorola, and this aspect of it feels correct for the time when it's launching, and it's good for the moment when it's coming to market, and it feels and it brings to life those aspects of premiumness and richness that we were going after.
All in all, you're getting a good chipset, which is similar to the OnePlus 15R, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5. We saw it first with OnePlus, but now these guys are also managing to leverage the strengths of this Snapdragon technology. You're getting a fairly decent camera, stills and zoom are amazing, video could have been better, sound tuned by Bose, a device which costs, and this is the kicker, under 60,000 rupees. Without any offers, it's 59,999 in India. That is the secret sauce. If you're getting all these features, flagship features at this price point with Motorola badging, because Motorola is largely, well, US based and really popular in the Americas and Brazil, also really gaining traction here in India with all of these services. This might be, and I think we're going to speak to the team about this, huddle up to compare this to the OnePlus and of course the Samsungs that we did last week, because this one honestly seems like a true bang for your buck. We're very excited about the tech on offer. One thing I do think is that this could have been a little sturdier. I'm scared maybe I need to get a cover while I'm using this because it seems very, very delicate, but we'll only know after testing it extensively here on Tech 360. For now, here's our first impressions of this device. Bye-bye Sony and hello TCL. Is this the end of Sony Bravia TVs or the television business as we know them? Not exactly, but a major shift is underway. Sony and TCL have signed an MOU to form basically a joint venture that will take operational control of Sony's TV and home audio business globally. That means that TCL, the Chinese company, will hold a 51% stake, while Sony retains 49%, with the new entity set to manage everything from product development and manufacturing to sales, logistics, and customer service starting as early as April next year. Sony is not stepping away from what defines Bravia. Its picture processing, audio tech, and brand identity will remain central to future products. And TVs will continue to be sold under the Sony and Bravia names. Sony also contributes its technical expertise and supply chain knowledge to the venture, ensuring its engineering DNA continues to shape the TV business. What changes though is who runs the engine. TCL will handle large-scale manufacturing, operations, and likely the delivery of the smart TV platform as part of the full value chain. For consumers, this means Sony Bravia TVs will still exist with Sony's visual and audio tuning, but built and delivered through TCL's manufacturing, scale, and operational efficiency. For buyers, this could translate into faster innovation, better availability of large premium TVs, and potentially more competitive pricing without losing the Sony Bravia experience, at least theoretically. But honestly, it is quite a big shift, a tectonic shift in terms of televisions and what we talk about as consumer tech, because Sony TVs were the gold standard in terms of televisions and smart TVs, from their software experience to their tuning to what they were trying to do with AI, processing, and the audio experience. There's a lot of issues with TVs, especially here in the Indian market, when it comes to software. Is it running on Google Android? Is it running on a third-party OS? Sony had tuned it perfectly. They also had a hardware suite with their soundbars, their tweeters, subwoofers, which worked like a charm. From TCL's standpoint, this is a big win because they've been trying to get into the premium market for the longest time. But as a tech enthusiast, I do say this with a heavy heart because Sony was known for their premium brand experience, user experience. It's Japanese tech at its finest. And with what they've done with the audio suite, the PlayStation optimization, I look at this with a hint of sadness. Is TCL going to take over and make it a lot more accessible and affordable? Maybe. But from this joint venture, is Sony diluting its premium image? That's a little niggling concern on my end. But let's see what the product is like. The proof is in the pudding. I don't want to judge prematurely. We'll be reviewing this venture and its products first day, first show here on Tech 360. Stay tuned. This cool package from Nothing arrived in the mail. Actually, should I correct myself? CMF by Nothing. The first over-the-ear headphones from the brand. Modular, pretty cool design, very premium looking, but at a sub 8,000, 7,000 rupee price point, are they a true bang for your buck? That's what we want to find out here on Tech 360. Let's actually get this review started. First things first, incredibly comfortable, and honestly, this is the sort of fit and comfort you'd get on a far more premium product. And in terms of the design and aesthetic and the fact that it's modular, it doesn't look bad at all. I'm not a fan of this color, but it is a fairly comfortable fit and finish. But sometimes from brands like CMF and Nothing, there's always that gimmick. Some people like it, some people don't. Here you have an energy slider which adjusts the bass and treble. Honestly, the way it works, it genuinely can be something that you use. It's very refreshing that you're getting this on a budget pair of headphones. Pretty cool, and the control is quite intuitive and smooth to use. I don't know about durability, but it does have an energy slider. In terms of battery life, you can get nearly 100 hours is what they say with ANC off. With ANC, which doesn't work all that well on these headphones, you get nearly 50 hours, which is fairly decent in terms of battery, and you have fast charging as well. 5 minutes and you get a fair amount of a day's worth of using these headphones. So in that department, they've obviously done well. In terms of colors, you get a bunch of options. I think dark gray, light green. Maybe I prefer one of those darker options, but at this price point, sub 8,000 rupees with some coupons and stuff, if you get anywhere between 7,000 to 8,000 rupees, this is an interesting price point. It's not like it's cheap, because if you're on a budget, you're going to college. I remember Skull Candy and JBL headphones over the year, back in the day, and even now, anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 rupees. So this is a straight 100% jump on these particular over-the-ear headphones. So in terms of pricing, maybe I think they could have been a little cheaper if you wanted to attract the college crowd and make them genuinely affordable and accessible. But yes, if it is your birthday or you're feeling incredibly wasteful and are willing to break the bank for a college student, shell out that money and buy these headphones, then you do get a fair bunch of features. I think, like I said, they could have been priced a little lower and you'd open up a plethora of an audience that would appreciate the product. But I've always been a bit confused with CMF. Is it supposed to be aspirational? Is it supposed to be a budget offering? Is it supposed to just give you a bang for your buck? This is a little bit on the expensive side. Price being no bar, they're a fairly good set of headphones. I just hope there's a bunch of discounts, especially in the festive season, or some sort of back-to-school offer where a larger set of people can appreciate the CMF Headphone Pro. For now, this is your first look on Tech 360. Well, it is the long weekend here in Mumbai, and honestly, after 7 days of 14-hour days, non-stop, getting you all the latest and greatest from Davos, it's been exhausting, but it's sort of rejuvenating to be back in Maximum City and be hosting this show. Now, I'm confused whether I should go play a game of football or I should maybe go for a jog, continue shooting, or just take a little bit of a break and relax and enjoy this view. Maybe get a cutting chai and a vada pav, because that tells you that you are back home in Amchi, Mumbai. While I mull over this, why don't you take a short commercial break? I'll see you on the other side.
यहाँ से जाना ही होगा।
जय मां दुर्गा!
There is no bigger battle in 2026. And nobody has reported Bengal like I have. Buckle up for an unforgettable election thriller. Will the BJP breach Mamta's fortress?
TMC जावे, BJP आसपे।
Can Didi fight off her life's biggest challenge?
BJP double engine সরকার এই লড়াই বাঁচতে হবে।
Battleground Bengal with Manogya Loiwal.
Mumbai are bringing our first India tour in your city. Rag on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets on Live Your City by Fever.
Pulling us into this country.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
Alright team, our new order show is ready. Now we need a promo. Something cool, something sharp.
Well, I'm sure we'll be having outstanding reviews, solid suggestions,
Expert advice, the latest trends. It's a lot simpler. We'll help people make the right auto decisions. It's got the cool stuff, geeky stuff, serious stuff, all of it, so that you can discover, decide and drive. I'm Siddharth Sharma and I am your Automate.
Across the country, he has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV Network.
Straight from the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
Last week on Tech 360, we brought you to Davos, Switzerland, for the World Economic Forum 2026, where AI shared center stage with geopolitics. Here's a compilation of what global tech leaders had to say about the future of AI.
As you think about us transitioning into this intelligence age, India stands like in this incredibly interesting position. We think about OpenAI for Countries, the AI Action Summit that India is bringing the world together around.
The younger population, they're the ones fully, integrated with the technology. They know how to do it. So the best way for any organization to leverage that expertise is to couple the young fresh graduate who are technical savvy with more senior people who have more context and truly transform the whole work processes.
And I think the reality is actually what we clearly see, that AI is changing the lives of people, which means society. And that's a topic where, for sure, in the World Economic Forum, it's not only a business topic, but also for politicians, how to deal with the productivity gains of AI. What does that mean with labor law, for instance? So there's a multitude of conversations which are coming here together. And that's what makes the World Economic Forum so special, to bring academia, governments, business leaders, everybody together in one place. And I think the motto of this year's World Economic Forum, a spirit of dialogue, is more important than ever.
As a community, we have not made much progress onto the physical world. So, in my opinion, the timeline for AGI or ACI, why am I pretty optimistic, is still very far away.
I'd say from an AI perspective first, I think the focus, as you rightly said, has moved from experimentation to large-scale deployment, right? And clearly, I feel there's a realization that large-scale deployment will not happen until the data estate has been simplified, until the applications have been modernized. So there is almost a virtuous cycle between get your data right, modernize and simplify your AI, modernize and simplify your applications, and then deploy AI. And then again, use AI to then simplify your data, use AI to simplify your apps, and then inject more AI.
In the past few years, and particularly last year, there was a lot of talk around AI. There was a lot of conversation, and most of it was how do we get out of the experimentation, proof of concepts phase. This year, what is actually happening is how do we scale? How do we scale? How do we get to the R in ROI? How impact could be created? And along the way, how could it be done in a sovereign manner?
AI historically over the last couple of years has dominated with models and compute, and I think those are really valuable. But the biggest value, I think, for the world at large is how enterprises capture value in the context of the application tier.
We spoke about AI, we spoke about infrastructure in AI. I think 2026 is going to be that inflection point where you're going to see that drift of value from infrastructure to businesses.
I think AI has moved from being a buzzword to being what I call a force of gravity. It's pulling everything else in. And here's the other reality. Look, there's no doubt the pace of technological change is just phenomenal. Cost of intelligence is falling 10 times every 12 months. AI is producing AI. And this thing is just all pervasive.
You know how much we love EVs here on Tech 360? That is the only way forward for the automotive industry. Hybrids and high-tech EVs. Hate it or love it, the EV revolution is alive and kicking here in India. From manufacturing to a massive consumer market. Every brand wants to mark its presence here in India, be it Tesla, Mercedes, BYD, or even Tata and Mahindra, who've really moved so future forward with their tech and auto. And then there's another company which has really been gaining some traction of late, VinFast. The Vietnamese EV maker is here in India, and they have massive plans in terms of manufacturing, launches 2 every 6 months, maybe more. So that's why we caught up with their India head, the big boss at VinFast India, to figure out what the company makes of the Indian market and how they plan to make it even bigger here in India.
How does VinFast plan on competing with the cars that are in the space? They have launched quite a few cars already, and they've advanced their technologies over time as well. Like we have started to see, 2 screens, 3 screens for the infotainment. Then we see these strategic alliances with the audio makers, the speaker makers as well. So how does VinFast look at all of this?
Yes, OEMs, other OEMs may be giving some value. Even we are offering a lot of value which appeals to the customer: tech, safety, performance, interior, premium quality, the fit and finish. All these products we are giving, combined with a very good a package, which includes warranty, which includes service. All this we are offering, and we are creating a big niche for ourselves. Customers are attracting. So currently we are having Wave 6 and Wave 7 we are entering, and we will be launching one new product every 6 months.
Okay. That's a huge claim though.
Yeah. So that's a huge claim which I'm making. And that's because we want to create excitement in the Indian market. And we already have a 50,000 capacity plant in Thoothukudi, Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
Obviously, when we are going to increase scale in volume, we need to have new products and create excitement in the market. Rather, this year we are not going to have, every 6 months.
Okay.
In fact, in the first half we'll be having one new product. In the second half we'll be not having one, we'll be having 2 new products. So this year we'll be having 3 new products. But at least we are going to plan to have one new model every 6 months. Now, coming to your question about, there are segments which are below VF6.
Yes.
And there are segments which are above VF7 also.
VF7 as well, yeah.
Products are already there in Vietnam.
Yes.
There are a bouquet of lot of products. We are doing the market research on all the segments.
Right.
And we will be bringing in these products in India also.
Okay.
And fine-tuning it to the local requirements. And we will be bringing it. So that market research we do always, thorough market research we do before we launch the products, which we'll be doing in the coming, whatever products we are going to bring this year and next year also.
And one last question. How much tech, according to you, is too much tech in a car?
So, as any auto OEM, he decides, or that particular, the top management of that auto company decides that I am going to have a product at, say, at X amount, say assuming 20 lakh rupees.
Yeah.
He decides that in that 20 lakhs, in what parameters he's going to make the investment. It can be in terms of safety features, it can be in terms of tech, it can be in terms of, engine performance, everything.
Right.
Yes, if a particular product is highly priced vehicle, then everything can be added, all tech features, everything. But when we are talking about a mid-segment or a mid-premium, every top management of any OEM has to decide that what are the factors which they have to put in the car. For that, research is very important.
Yeah.
The product research, the product links are very important to really decide what customers want, what tech they want, what is the weightage they give to tech, performance, safety. And that's how should be. And that's how in VinFast we do it.
Great. So I'm really looking forward to all the new launches from VinFast. And it was a great conversation. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
For being on NDTV.
Thank you, sir.
Yet another high-octane episode of Tech 360 draws to a close. We're wrapping up all the action just for this week. But honestly, my personal take, it's great to be in a Mumbai winter where you don't need to layer up. It feels like spring or summer anywhere else around the world. This is the time to be in Maximum City. I'm glad to be back. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ayush Elavadi saying until next week, adios.
Front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindoor.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live. Unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France. In Italy. At Srinagar. France. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig, until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
A very special moment for us as we announce NDTV Masterstroke, the NDTV Art Awards.
M3M presents NDTV Masterstroke Art Awards. An odyssey of creative brilliance where the masterpiece meets its ultimate recognition.
NDTV bringing this subject forward would have a great integrity of putting it forward where people could understand the importance of art.
This award that is being started, I'm sure is going to be amazing.
Art for India and for Indians is an expression of our Atmanirbharta.
It's actually quite a formidable jury, so I think we'll reveal a lot more as we go along.
This is an amazing platform, I think, today what you're doing.
I have always had this inclination towards art, and if we don't collaborate and bring those artists forward, give them a platform, who else will?
Honoring the masters who define our cultural landscape, M3M presents NDTV Masterstroke Art Awards on the NDTV network. 1st February 2026. What will change? Will costs be more handy? Will my essentials get cheaper? Will my business grow bigger? Will I get richer? Will loans get easier? Will shopping be more fun? Will the prices drop so I get more? What will happen? Union Budget 2026 on NDTV Network.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They are now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to. And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude, we're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship. The line of control, Shiv Arun, NDTV.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. Sunetra Pawar has been sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. But what does this mean going forward for the two NCP factions? All that and more coming up ahead. Let's take a look at the headlines we're tracking. Sunetra Pawar takes oath as Maharashtra's first female Deputy Chief Minister, carries forward Ajit Dada's legacy. Maharashtra Chief Minister Fadnavis and Deputy Chief Minister attend the oath ceremony at the Lok Bhavan. But earlier in Baramati, Sharad Pawar said he was not consulted on Sunetra Pawar's elevation, adding that the NCP reunion talks had been moving in a positive direction. They even had a date. Supriya Sule, Rohit Pawar all skipped the swearing-in ceremony. A political face-off has begun over the Anandapura warehouse fire or the Momo warehouse fire. Union Home Minister Amit Shah slams the Mamata government, saying this is not an accident, but the Mamata government is behind this fire. The Karnataka government has decided to form a special investigation to probe the suicide case of C.J. Roy, the businessman who died by suicide while IT raids were underway at his premises. And Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal speaks to NDTV on the mother of all deals with the EU. Piyush Goyal says the EU FTA is important geopolitically and India won't be pushed into any deadlines. Goyal says a robust trade deal with the United States likely soon. breaking news coming in on the portfolios that Sunetra Pawar will have, the wife of Nationalist Congress Party leader Ajit Pawar, who took oath as Maharashtra's first woman Deputy Chief Minister today. This comes days after he died in a plane crash, and she has been given charge of the excise duty, sports and youth welfare, as well as minorities development. Remember, this is something NDTV was reporting earlier, and now it has been confirmed that she will have these portfolios, so 3 portfolios. However, the finance and planning portfolio handled by her husband will stay with Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. At the time of his death, in fact, Ajit Pawar was preparing for the state budget, but Sunetra Pawar now getting state excise duty, sports and youth welfare and minorities development portfolios. As we said, the planning and finance to remain with Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. Let's go across to Abhishek Awasthi now for more. And Abhishek, given that she is taking up this very high position for the first time, being a Deputy Chief Minister, she is getting the portfolios that her husband held, except for the really key one, which is finance and planning.
Definitely, that's what we earlier in the day broke the information for, it's a NDTV news break confirmation, because, the talks were going on, and the important portfolio, if I would like to highlight, that Ajit Pawar was always insisted on, was the finance and planning. I remember those days, how Ajit Pawar went to Delhi and got the confirmation on finance and planning. But at this given point of time, budget session is expected in Maharashtra. So what we understand is, for the time being, that important department has been kept to the Chief Minister. We will have to wait and understand after the budget session whether it will be given back to Sunetra Pawar or not, or it will be with the BJP. But more importantly, rest all the portfolios of sports and youth development, minority development and state excise duty has been given to the newly sworn in Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, that is Sunetra Pawar, and first female Deputy Chief Minister. So we'll have to understand, in coming days whether that finance and planning returns back to Sunetra Pawar on NCP or not, or it stays with the Chief Minister itself. Back to you.
All right. And Abhishek, what can you tell us about, we see those visuals after Sunetra Pawar was sworn in. She came home and then she, offered flowers to her late husband's photograph. She is going to be leaving for Baramati as well.
Definitely, because it's just the 4th day today. And there are 2 factions. In fact, there are people who are criticizing this move. At the same time, the Pawar family, the other side of it, has outspoken clearly that it wasn't the need to be so early. So there are many things to it, and definitely there are many rituals which are pending in Baramati. So definitely what is expected, now, she might be leaving after some time to Baramati, and from there onwards, the next phase of Sunetra Pawar, the political phase, will definitely begin. And we will have to, there are a lot more challenges to her. How well she can keep that position intact, in fact, making that bond with those party workers, taking the legacy of Ajit Dada forward. More than that, there are many challenges ahead. And most important of all, what we understand from our sources is definitely she will also be taking over the important position of NCP National President in near future. And there would be a mechanism to it, but we'll have to wait and watch out for how these things pans out, because it's just the 4th day after we have lost our beloved leader. Most importantly, the Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar. So the political dynamics will definitely change in the NCP in near future.
Right, Abhishek, and we'll come back to you to talk more about that and family dynamics as well. So let's take you through all the big developments In the political landscape of Maharashtra, Sunetra Pawar, wife of NCP Chief Ajit Pawar, took oath today at around 5 p.m. as the first woman Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, coming just days after Ajit Pawar died in a plane crash in Baramati just on Wednesday. Sunetra Pawar was earlier unanimously elected as the NCP legislature party leader. Her name was proposed by Chhagan Bhujbal and seconded by Dilip Patil and other top leaders. And during the swearing-in ceremony, there were slogans of Ajit Dada Amar Rahe chants that took place over there. However, family members Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule skipped that swearing-in ceremony. Earlier, Sunetra Pawar, as we said, was at the assembly attending the legislative party meeting. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended his wishes to Sunetra Pawar on assuming office as the first woman Deputy Chief Minister and said that Sunetra will fulfill Ajit Pawar's vision.
पहले जो है उप मुख्यमंत्री जो है एक महिला महाराष्ट्र राज्य को मिली है। हम तो चाहेंगे कि महिला मुख्यमंत्री भी बननी चाहिए, मगर यह है कि जो हादसा हुआ है अजित दादा के बारे में वो अभी भी सबके नज़रों के सामने है। फिर भी जो है कि 3 दिन अभी मिले सब लोग और ठीक ढंग से जो है एक मत से जो है ये तय हुआ कि उनको जो है हम लीडर हमारा नेता चुनेंगे।
सुनेत्रा बहिनी ने हमेशा अजीत दादा का कठिन समय में टाइम दिया है, कठिन समय में उनका साथ दिया है और आज जब महाराष्ट्र को ज़रूरत है तब भी सुनेत्रा बहिनी जी ने ये इतनी बड़ी जिम्मेदारी ली है, तो कार्यकर्ताओं के लिए बहुत अच्छा है। और अजीत दादा हमेशा लाडकी बहनों के भाई माने जाते थे, तो आज अगर एक महिला डेप्यूटी सीएम आ रही है महाराष्ट्र में तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात है हम सबके लिए, राष्ट्रवादी कांग्रेस पार्टी।
महिला उप मुख्यमंत्री बनी है, वो बात एक बात अच्छी भी है और दूसरी तरफ से दादा हमारे में नहीं है, ये बात बुरी भी है। अब ऐसे सिचुएशन में हमको तो आगे जाना है और हमारे पास में कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है। हमारे पास में एक ही ऑप्शन है सुनेत्रा बहिनी, जो हमको लेके सबको लेके साथ में लेके चल सकती है और उनके फैमिली में से किसी न किसी को आगे आना था, तो बहिनी की